Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Startup Soirée Podcast. This is your host, Patrick Reif. Happy to have you all here with us again on another beautiful Monday. Today's guest is Stacey Chambers from GoGo's Retread Threads. Many of you in Baltimore, even if you do not know Stacey or the name of her business, most likely will have seen her business. She and GoGo's are a kind of like a cool, chic thrift store that rolls around in a traditional school bus that has been psychedelically improvised on the outside. A pretty cool business. Also, you'll have noticed her if you watch BBJ this past year. She is one of our 40 under 40. So without too much more yakking, Stacey, welcome to the Startup Soirée Podcast. Thank you for being a guest.
Thanks for having me, Patrick.
Hey,
everyone.
If you don't mind, just as we start off, give us your story a little bit about GoGo's and maybe a little background on yourself.
Sure. Well, I am not a Baltimore native, but I've been here about 10 years. I started the business 5 years ago. I was the first mobile clothing business in Maryland, and I started it as I was going to do a traditional brick and mortar, and then I heard a scary NPR news story about how people don't actually support small business like they say they do. And I got the idea on a Tuesday to try to do it mobile, like in a Winnebago or a bus or something. And I literally had the bus in 3 days. So I got the idea on a Tuesday. I bought a bus on Friday, and everything just sort of fell into place.
So
go ahead.
I have a few questions right off the jump, and the first one is, how'd you find a bus so quick?
Well, the internet is a wonderful place. It's not just for cat pictures and Googling what people are wearing. It's you can actually find a lot of useful things on there, like a bus.
So
it is mostly for Googling cat pictures.
Did you convert it immediately? Did you do the paint job, or did you get out there and hawk with it being yellow for a little while?
Actually, it was primer gray. It looked like a prison bus. So I worked out of a prison bus for about 6 months. I wanted to highlight a local artist, and I met my good friend, Matt Muirhead. He's a local artist. He's getting a lot of recognition right now. And, it was just a really good fit. I really liked him, and I wanted to be able to support someone local in the community. I'm really all about small business and artists and musicians, and all just sort of creating a collective, like collaborative area with everyone involved. So being able to do that has been awesome. I'm actually going to start doing curated collections from different photographers and artists on my ceiling of my bus. So look out for that. I'm going to be putting magnets on the ceiling and showcasing people's work and selling their work.
Great idea. Yeah, we're familiar with Matt. I've met him a few times just around town, but he was in charge, I believe, and I hope that I am not denigrating someone else, but I believe Matt was the guy who helmed putting together the Mad Max photo booth backdrop that Pixelated shot against for the Creative Alliance Mad Max festival party thing that they threw a few weeks ago, and it was exceptionally amazing. It had like a movable kind of turret gun, and it was totally fully realized. So talented guy.
Matt was involved in that. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you just meet Matt from being in Baltimore?
Yeah. Matt was involved in that with several other people. I actually helped put up some of that stuff as well. It was Matt and an artist named Chris Owen. They both kind of did it, and a lot of other talented people. But yeah, he was involved in that.
So where does your interest and background in fashion and I guess clothing or reselling clothing, where's that from?
Well, my mom used to run like a mobile, or not mobile, I'm sorry. That's me. I run the mobile thing, not my mom. My mom used to manage is a homeless outreach, soup kitchen, food pantry, vintage boutique, and thrift store back home. So I kind of grew up with that as my base, and just sort of really having an appreciation for reusing things, and also just the cost effectiveness of it. Um, I also, I think so oftentimes so many parts of our lives are really disposable. And I think a lot of clothing now is really disposable. And that's how we approach it. Trends is like disposable things. And kind of makes me a little sad. So being able to take things that were loved by people and give them to someone else or sell them to someone else so they can be loved again and have exciting, cool lives on someone's back again really makes me happy. And also, Baltimore's a working class town, and most of my price points are pretty reasonable. And I think people sort of have known to love that about me, and being able to provide that service to so many people that just are kick-ass people that don't have as much walking around money as other people do really means a lot to me.
The website is awesome, by the way. I really
Thank
love it.
you.
I pulled it up before we started talking, and I just kind of clicked over to it, and it's great. It like really it embodies the vibrancy of the business, but it's also real clean and nice. Like it's real considered and put together well. Nice job, nice job.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
how the hell did you get to Baltimore? Where are you from? Where did you come from?
I grew up in Reno, Nevada. I came to Baltimore sort of via Phoenix and Los Angeles. I met a fella in Phoenix, and I wasn't doing anything in Phoenix I couldn't do in Baltimore. And I think that I know I've met a lot of women, a lot of people that have been brought to Baltimore by other people, like significant other type people. So I think that there's some kind of tax credit that you get in Baltimore if you bring someone cute to Baltimore. Because I meet all these really cute people. I'm like, how'd you get here? They're like, oh, my so and so brought me. We broke up. And I'm like, that's it. There's some kind of tax incentive that they don't tell you about. If you bring in someone from out of state who's cute and nice and you bring them to Baltimore, you get like, I don't know, like some kind of $2,000 tax credit, I think.
Yeah, there's also the weird like magnetic retention rate that prevents people from being able to
Yeah.
leave. I don't know what's up with that. Something weird.
Well, Baltimore's it's a cool town. I mean, I really like it here. I think, it's humble, sort of working class city, but there's so much pride. People take so much pride in their town. Good, bad, ugly, like people love it here. And there's something to be said about that. I mean, there's a really cool art and music scene here, but people don't take themselves super seriously. There's not like a pretentious bone in Baltimore's body. And I think that's awesome. And to be a part of that is awesome.
So, if you had to split it in half, what portion of the business is more engaging for you? Is it the creative portion of it, or is it the business aspect of it,
You know,
or is it equal?
I equally love it's completely equal. I mean, that's such a corny thing to say, but I mean, I love engaging with people so much. Um, I could sell my stuff on Etsy and honestly probably make more money doing that. But there's something that really floats my boat when I like see somebody in my clothes walking on the street and they like hug me and I'm like, I get so much attention from this shirt. Or, when I don't know someone and they come on my bus and they're like, I just got a new job and I need some work clothes, and I like give them a better deal because they know they just got a job, and then they come back and share their experiences with me. Like it's really what inspires me is just to be able to make someone's day a little brighter. And also, I think, so oftentimes you see business people, small businesses even, and you don't think it's an attainable thing for you. And, what I'm doing is attainable. There's a lot of other fashion trucks on the street now. I took a risk and it paid off. And the fact that it did, I think, is really cool for people, and for people to see. I mean, granted, I'm not like living in the lap of luxury. I struggle every day, and but I'm not making any, faceless corporation wealth. I'm not being an ambassador to a company that doesn't care about me, and doesn't really care about the people that are supporting them. I care about everyone, and I feel the relationships that I'm developing um, and cultivating it's a two-way street, and it's awesome to experience that. And as creative stuff goes, yeah, I love being able to create things, and I handwrite all my signs, and I try to be clever with my social media, and I rework some vintage pieces, and rework some jewelry, and that's really awesome too, to be able to flex those muscles. I'm really lucky, like, every day that I do this.
So
Sorry to gush.
no. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. Where do you see GoGo's going? Sorry, I had to do that.
It's okay. I forgive you. I feel like you kind of need to be like, oh, I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
So,
I do a lot of that.
I do a lot of that too. I'm really proud of myself for not dropping the F word yet. Um, I, I ask myself that often, I hope that I can utilize this vehicle, haha, I need a pun also, as something to hopefully like bridge more small businesses together, and, develop more community. I feel like oftentimes small businesses work as adversaries. It's like, that store's next to me, and that means they're my competitor. Where I feel like, big corporations work together all the time. And I feel like instead of us being, little rats fighting over a big piece of cheese, like, we need to learn how to make the cheese and work together. And I feel like because I'm so mobile, and because I go to so many different areas, I have been able to sort of bridge some people together, and hopefully, not just hopefully, I think I have shown other small businesses like that there is power in numbers, and working together. So I'd really like to get more involved with like small business advocacy, and also, maybe starting other mobile businesses for people. I mean, even just like the food deserts that are around. There used to be a truck that I saw that, it was like a farm bus sort of, but I don't see that anymore. And so I think that I would really like to get involved with bringing communities that maybe have struggling,
Totally.
like have struggling are struggling with bringing retail into their communities, having a mobile business where it's like we come and are successful in bringing these things to other communities that have struggled. I think that that's something that could be attainable and successful.
Sure, and new business models to come and push,
Exactly.
new business. I'm so glad you mentioned that. This is something that is near and dear to me, and I've tried to maintain a pretty vocal point of view over the last 34 years in my life, but also over the last few months in Baltimore, being someone from Baltimore and watching what's going on, and having a point of view about it. And I definitely am someone who is deeply rooted for the community. I'm an underdog person through and through, and I think that I've said it before on this platform, and I'll say it everywhere else, that I think that the heart of the renaissance that's going to happen in Baltimore is going to come from small businesses that recognize the opportunity that the city being where it is has afforded them to build a business, and they're going to care, and they're going to want to come back and impact the communities in meaningful ways. And I keep musing on this version of this model of coming in and repairing an entire block, one block at a time, but figuring out how to do it without bringing in any of the chain stores to do it, and without and only like putting the people in the housing that live in the communities currently, like just flipping them for the sake of creating, places to live. There's that theater on Monroe Street. If you're cutting across Monroe, it's kind of like right there in the middle of the west side. It's on the left-hand side as you're cutting across Monroe. And I always just dream about how cool it would be to just make that movie theater like ground zero for starting this like new organic way. So all of you civic entrepreneurs out there, all of you socially focused entrepreneurs out there, you need to email this guy so we can get you on here and talk about that stuff more, because that needs to be a stronger conversation happening in Baltimore. I think happening at large is ways that new business and entrepreneurship can positively impact the way local communities grow in the future. But we got to start talking about it. Like, you can't just mention it being cool. You got to have the chat.
Well, also, I think not just looking at success as wealth driven, look at success as like community driven and society driven, like instead of trying to build wealth constantly, like rebuild society, and redefine what it means to create something, because so oftentimes people are so wealth driven and financial driven.
Building wealth.
You don't want to obviously.
Yeah, building wealth alone is a vain pursuit. Like, it's fine to build wealth, and if it's produced by what your effort is. But the point is like, you have to be pursuing, you have to achieve, you have to have an effort in place. Just to pursue money for money's sake it's not something I'm interested in anyway. And it's not something I'm worried about. Like, I'm pretty confident that it'll take care of itself at this point. I think that my job is just to stay focused on trying to really create positive, opportunities for other people. If I can keep doing that, I think I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, that's my job too.
Well, I'm so glad that we could.
One skirt at a time.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said one skirt at a time.
One skirt at a time. One skirt at a time. I think that I love having gotten to learn about your the essence of your business, which is wanting to make community. Like when we started the idea of Startup Soirée, it was like, it would be great to network with other business owners and not have people that are looking for jobs like break up our conversation, so we can really like stay on it. And that's kind of like where it started. And then once we kind of pulled it apart and started to plan it more and more, we realized how important we thought it would be to really make a legitimate community. And that's when we started blogging and podcasting and interviewing people and just like kind of really going all in and really putting a ton of effort into it. And it seems like you have a very similar point of view. We really want to figure out how to stitch together a business community and be resourceful and be helpful to the community that we're in. So thanks for taking time to talk with me today. I want, before we break off, could you please let everyone out there in the universe know the best way to find out about GoGo's Retread threads and to get in touch with you?
Sure. The best way to find me is on Facebook at GoGo's Retread Threads. I'm also on Instagram under the same handle. Again, I am a vintage and pre-loved clothing bus. I travel around Baltimore, and I'm available for private functions, events, corporate events. And you're welcome just to call me and tell me if you're having a great day or if you're having an issue. I love talking with people. Thanks again, and look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome, Stacey. Awesome. Well, you heard it, guys and gals, people in the universe. Another thrilling run with this guy and Stacey. The events are building up. This is going to air on Monday, so it will be soiree week when we're listening to this. So we have Ted Offit next Thursday at Pixelated for the May Startup Soirée. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, go and get them. It's going to be a good one. We are currently on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. So we're putting it in 3 places you can go and listen. And, of course, you can always go to the website, startup-soiree.com, and hit the podcast tab up there. If you want to do me a huge favor, head to iTunes, leave a review of the podcast. It helps more people find this awesomeness. And here's my last ask of the day. I want to hear from more entrepreneurs about what they're doing. This could be you. You could be Stacey. It's just a different Monday sometime in the future. So I want you to send me an email. Send it to patrick@pixelatedphotobooth.com. That's PIXILATED photobooth.com, and make the subject line say, "Yo, I'm trying to be on the Soiree podcast." And we will make that happen. Okay, until next time, stay cool. Peace.